G'day guys, Alex here. As you can see today, I am at TopSport, which is a sharp bookmaker here on the Gold Coast in Australia. Be giving you guys a behind the scenes look into what a bookmaker looks like behind the scenes, how they operate, all that good stuff, having a chat to the CEO, Tristan Merlehan, at the same time. So I hope you guys enjoy. All right, we are here with the TopSport CEO, Tristan Merlehan. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, Alex. Thanks for coming up and having a chat, and hope you really enjoyed the office, a little bit of a peek around the place. So yeah, we're happy to have you up here.
No, mate, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's just incredible that you give this kind of insight to the public, or at least me, and I can give the best feedback to the public on what it looks like, and I guess the insides of how a bookmaker operates, because I guess you wouldn't get that from many other bookmakers in the industry.
Yeah, no, and that's something I've always said in anything we've done. It's always a case of we're very open about what we do, and we're very genuine and very transparent in anything we do. And some things people agree with, some people they don't. But I think that's the thing I always try to pass on to our guys out there on the trading floor, and something I hold pretty dear as well in terms of values, is that if you're going to make a decision, you've got to be able to justify it. And I think there's a change in how the industry's moved in the last probably 5 or 10 years, where a lot of traders at a lot of the bigger businesses, they haven't got to justify their decision to a punter. You can bet these really small limits, and there's not that there's no accountability. They're not doing the wrong thing, they're doing it by the business model. But for us, we'd have to tell someone, hey, you can't have this bet and this is the reason. You'd have to verbally say it to them or talk to them over the phone, and it'd be myself or Dad conveying that message. And that's what I try to pass on to the guys in our office, that if you're going to make a decision, you've got to be able to justify it. Don't leave it for the customer service rep to have to handle an irate customer over something that isn't right. And we never ever get everything right. I don't think anyone can say you get everything perfectly right all the time, but I feel that on most instances we get it right more often than not. And if we do butcher something, we're very open and say, look, we did get that wrong, we'll fix it up and go from there. So I think that's something that I've learnt from going on course to online, and it's something that you try to instill into the other traders out there, because not many of them have had the opportunity to be able to be in that space. So it's trying to convey those lessons, and I think most of the guys do a pretty good job in that space.
The general theory is you guys are taking a lot more money on games than your average bookmaker. I mean, you guys are, I can only think of you guys, Pinnacle, Chris. There's a handful of you guys in the whole world that are doing the sharp model. So have you ever considered going to the soft model?
There's benefits in what we do as well with being a sharp bookmaker, and I wouldn't even call it sharp, I'd say it's a fair bookmaker. We obviously don't bet massive limits on minor sports. It's different. We have limits, and we have limits based on events and times to jump, and we're very confident we're leading the marketplace in those. Like, for example, on a rugby league game, which is our premier sport, or an AFL game, which are our two premier sports, we'll bet everyone to win 10,000 in the last hour on our win and line. It's not the case on a prop market. Obviously, we still have strong limits on that, but it's different. If they're betting on a Tuesday for a Saturday game, the limits are different as well. So, but we're very happy to explain those and be very clear with the expectations for customers of what it is. But it's also helps us shape our book and helps us get our markets really accurate, so that we can take those big bets at jump time from our sharp, our grey, our soft customers as well. And I think it's a case of, you can look at it two ways. If you're just going to go and shut people down, which we could if we wanted to, we don't want to, but we could if that was where we wanted to move to. I don't think a lot of these pros are just going to then move away and, TopSport don't want us, I'm going to go somewhere else. There's different avenues to get set. We feel we've got a really good respect with all of our winning customers and our really genuine pro punters, that they're going to do the right thing. They're going to come through the front door, they're going to back the option they want to be on, they're going to have they know we're going to give them a fair bet, and we know that the market's going to move based on that opinion, and we bookmake, and that's all it is. It's just trying to shape your prices based on the volume of money, the supply and demand, different opinions. We have our own opinions as well, and we look at what the sharp punters are doing, and we move our odds to do that, to either offset it or lay other runners shorter and these sort of things. So to answer your question, no, I certainly don't ever see us getting to the point of switching people off. We'd never do that. And we hope we can continue to offer the exact same service we've always offered, but from us, we need to try to grow our number of customers. We need to do that to be able to ensure that we've got the stability there to take on the pros and to continue to do that and to sharpen our market. So it's a catch-22 situation, and I think we do it pretty well.
So how hard is it for you guys, like as a sharp bookmaker? Like, is that a goal at all to become as big of a bookmaker as the Tab or Sportsbet? I mean, I'm sure it's a goal of yours one day, but like, how seriously, it must be very difficult to go from where you guys are now to all the way to where they are at the moment.
Yeah, and obviously, you have silly goals of where you want to get to, and then Sportsbet's miles in front of everyone at the moment. They do a great job. And I think they offer a pretty good service on most occasions too. I feel our model would work unbelievably well the bigger we get. I really do. I think the bigger we grow, the better our model works, which I'm surprised a lot of the other bigger places haven't gone down that route, because I think there's only a finite amount of really sharp punters out there that are the ones dictating these markets. And if you can make your markets sharper and more accurate, it's got to provide you a bigger percentage for your recreational punters as well. So yeah, of course I'd love to get there, and I'd love to maintain our model doing it that way. It's just such a big jump to go from even where we were 2 or 3 years ago to where we are now. There's a lot of growing pains involved in that. The taxes are very hard to absorb in our position in the marketplace. You get a lot of benefits when you're quite small. You get a lot of benefits of scale when you're very big. To get from very small to very big, it's a very difficult and long journey to get there, because they've got billions of dollars behind them. They've got massive, big companies behind them. They've got hundreds and hundreds of staff. We're a family business that have grown from 3 people to 40. It's very difficult to be taking on the likes of Sportsbet. We're having a crack at it, and I think we're doing a pretty good job making the progress we've made. But it is a challenge, and it's something we just got to keep chipping away, finding little niches and gaining any little ground we can.
Getting started, do you think, is it harder to make money straight away as a sharp bookie versus a soft bookie? Like, who do you think would be more successful to start with?
Oh, you need a lot more resources to run an operation the way we run it. So immediately it would be a lot simpler to be a soft bookie. Even I've spoken to some bookmakers who are probably half our size in type of turnover, and they can run their operation with 4 or 5 staff where we need 40 of them. So there's such a big discrepancy there immediately, because we need to be on the ball with our prices. Especially initially, you don't have the client base to be able to, if you're taking a sharp bet and this customer's probably going to beat you over a long period of time, you don't get that offset of money until you pick up a decent group of customers. So it's certainly in the short term, and even probably in the medium, and even in the lengthy term, you're always going to be more profitable running a soft book, and there's no doubt about that. We know our margins significantly less than everyone out there, and we're well aware of that. It also doesn't mean that we don't want to do it. Like, it's one of those things, you got to have pride in your business, and I have pride in what we do, and I feel that we can offer really good service. I feel we take everyone on, and I feel we've got integrity out there that people can actually understand and say, look, this is how bookmaking was run 30, 40 years ago, and that's something we want to try to continue to do.
What's it like trying to educate your guys to try and take as much expected value as possible, if you want to put it that way, but at the same time they're kind of playing with your money, your family's money in a way. Like, how do you teach them to be a bit more risky, I guess, but know that they're actually making good long-term decisions? Yeah,
I guess it's a case of educating them of these are the maximum liabilities we want to get to in a game. If we're happy or we're comfortable standing a match for X and we're only halfway there, even though it's lopsided one way or the other, and it's business, and we're comfortable with the price, we're comfortable with the group of customers that are on it, we're comfortable with our position, then you don't need to panic, because you don't want to just flip the book for the sake of it to balance it if you feel you're on the right side of the number. One of the memories that always sticks out for me is when Black Caviar raced over in Royal Ascot. My family were actually going over to Royal Ascot to watch it. It had always been a dream of Dad's to get to Royal Ascot, and Black Caviar's racing, so let's head over there. Now, we had a customer that used to have $1 million on Black Caviar every time she went around. Like, every race, probably from about the 5th race in her career. And obviously she never got beat. So he used to have $1 million on it, very short. Royal Ascot rolls around, I knew the family were over there. And I said to him, look, I'm going to bet this bet back. I'm going to so you guys can go over there, you're not cheering for the Aussie icon to get beat. You can go over there, you can enjoy the day, cheer her on. That was the most nerve-wracking race I've ever watched in my life, because we couldn't lose on the race. We were going to win something small, whatever happened. But it was the opportunity cost. I'm like, I've done something completely foreign to what I would do. I've made a emotional call and dumped all this money. And she ended up just winning. Like, I don't know if you remember the race, but the jockey rode her out, and then she stopped, and that was the most nerve-wracking race I've ever watched. When it's exactly what a lot of what you say, where you're trying to balance your book. Where for me, it's completely foreign. Like, I wouldn't have blinked the eye watching that go around, knock off the 30 or 40,000 or whatever it was at in that race. I can't remember how short she was. It might have been a bit more than that. I think she was $1.20. So, we would have stood it for our maximum if she gets up, but it was just a different sort of mindset. And that, to me, I watched that race so intently, even though we had no risk involved in it. So I guess that sort of explains my mindset on it.
Let's just say I signed up brand new TopSport account today. Like, how many bets are we talking? How many weeks? Like, until you've got like you're never going to be 100% certain that I'm sharp or not sharp, but to a point where you're happy to make some serious decisions based on, your profiling.
Yeah, we can make a call, a educated guess after one bet. Like there's certain things that you'll see that will stand out, like dogs, whatever, and you can make an assessment based on that. And I think one of the key things we do really well is, sometimes if someone is sharp and they're still betting in manners that we can handle it, they won't know that we believe that they're sharp, because we'll handle the business and manage it in a certain way very subtly, which is something that we pride ourselves on. But yeah, you see accounts that after one or two bets, well, this guy is very, very sharp or otherwise. And then other accounts, we've had guys betting with us for 5 or 6 years, and some of their business is very sharp and some of it is not. And they're the really tricky ones, because they're the customers that you're very difficult to read. That when they're betting early in a race day, obviously they've got some mail and they know what they're doing. If they're betting 2 days out from a footy game and on this particular team, do they have some mail surrounding that team? But then they'll have a 5-leg multi on Friday night when they're at their pub with their mates. So that's probably the difficulty. And it's people changing their betting habits over a period of time. We've got customers that have been with us for 5, 10, 15 years, and you could have someone rated or pigeonholed as this person, but they've changed their betting pattern, and they're the ones that can catch you off guard, because all of a sudden you're tweaking your books in the manner that might not be the right way from our long-term perspective. Yeah,
and how do you educate your traders on profiling itself? Because the easiest way you can do it is just by seeing their closing line value. That's one that's highlighted predominantly in the industry as if you're beating the closing line long term, you should be making money from sports betting. Is that kind of a starting point for you in terms of educating the traders on profiling customers, or are there some other ways too that you're able to? Because there are people out there who get zero closing line value. I know a few of them, and their ROI is huge. So how do you? Are there other ways outside of that you're educating the guys?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's like in anything. It doesn't matter if it's in our industry or any industry. It's not putting all your eggs into one basket. So closing line value is immense. Like if you see someone's backing something at 5.5 and the game jumps 9.5, then win, lose or draw, they're likely going to be pretty sharp. And there's also just the pure profitability. Like some person might be taking poor prices or just winning. And for our point of view, they're really good customers, because if we've got someone that's really sharp just on the pure P&L side of things, and we can actually move the book to lay the other side without having to get into a really ordinary percentage. Like, we love those type of customers. There's plenty of them out there. And then the other thing is just seeing the flow on bets. Like, if someone has a bet and then a sharp punter is betting after them, then it's highly likely that this person is probably pretty sharp as well. So timing of it, if someone's having a bet just before or after some news has been announced, if they're betting early, if they're betting predominantly in one area, if they're staking in a certain manner, there's so many ways to look at, and it's not just one answer, which is what categorises someone, and it's monitoring the patterns as they go through too. So there's a lot of ways to look at that.